Yo, 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 what is going on? It's your boy, Shawnee Sean. And the Steelers made a big move today. So let's get into it. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, but the Steelers trade for Justin Fields today. Breaking the news. Only goes for a 6 that could turn into a 4th if he plays 51%. Pretty big surprise. The former first round pick is now a Pittsburgh Steeler, and it looks like he will be backing up Russell Wilson. That's what the caption behind me says already. Russell Wilson will be starting in Pittsburgh, but Justin Fields is now the backup. They get him for a 6th-round pick that could turn into a 4th if he plays 51%. Seems relatively unlikely. Russell Wilson is the more experienced veteran, has won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks and multiple Pro Bowls. Most likely a Hall of Famer, especially if you sort of disregard the stint that he had in Denver. Although he actually didn't play so bad in Denver this past year. It was clear that Sean Payton just didn't really like him, and it wasn't a great fit. So we'll see how he does as a backup. Hopefully he can rebuild his value. Big surprise is actually that the Eagles, I guess, couldn't come to terms with the Bears on this move, because the Eagles were apparently in pretty heavy conversations about getting Justin Fields as their backup. And, they got Kenny Pickett from the Steelers, and it looks like the Steelers pretty much flipped those picks and get Justin Fields. So congratulations, Justin Fields finds a new home across the state in Pittsburgh. It sounded like he was actually willing to be the backup in Chicago. Chicago didn't seem like they wanted any part of that and have clearly moved on. So congratulations to everyone involved. Caleb Williams is very likely going number 1 to Chicago. And Chicago's actually built a pretty nice team around for an incoming quarterback, considering they just traded for Justin Fields. Not Justin Fields, Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen wanted to keep his contract with the Chargers. Chargers wanted to restructure. Keenan Allen said, "I'm still worth this big money," and they ship him off to Chicago, where he will be a nice security blanket for Caleb Williams or whoever they draft. But that's a nice wide receiver room now in Chicago with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. So Caleb Williams should actually have a nice opportunity in Chicago. They've actually started to put some weapons in there. But for Pittsburgh, they've already had the weapons there. They have 2 beautiful running backs. They've got Pickens on the outside, Freiermuth. So, I really do like what they like. I expect Pittsburgh to draft another wide receiver or 2. They've historically done very well in the draft, especially drafting wide receivers. Had a lot of success, maybe not necessarily elsewhere, but a lot of skill positions have a lot of success in Pittsburgh, and then sometimes tarnish in other systems for some reason. But that is a different conversation. Anyway, there's still a lot of decent free agents out there on the market. Connor Williams, the center from the Miami Dolphins. Trent Brown, the offensive tackle from the Patriots. Justin Simmons, the safety from the Broncos, is still a high-profile guy. Led the league in interceptions a couple years ago, so stay tuned where he goes. Chase Young, top 2 pick a couple years ago. Surprised that he's still out there. Former Washington Commander, and was on the 49ers this year, and was trying to cash in and get that Super Bowl, but unfortunate. And just shy. Xavier Howard, the cornerback from the Miami Dolphins, is also still out there. Same thing with Steven Nelson. Both those guys are getting a little bit older. Jadeveon Clowney, another edge rusher, which was a premier talent back in the day. Calais Campbell, same thing. A lot of these guys are sort of past their prime. Ryan Tannehill, some of these guys will most likely sign later into camp when there's an injury or something, really right after the draft. So it seems like we've really hit the biggest wave of free agency. A lot of guys will still sign. There's still 20, 30 guys that are pretty interesting. Micah Hyde, Tyler Boyd. So we'll see where guys go and where they settle in. But pretty awesome for the Philadelphia Eagles in free agency. Seems like they've really done a great job of really just improving the team. It seems like a lot of pressure is now on Nick Sirianni, considering he's got the keys to the Ferrari. He just can't crash it now. So he's got all the toys, so he just can't break them. But yeah, it's exciting. Hopefully Kenny Two Gloves can be a good backup. He's from New Jersey, so welcome back home. And yeah, go Birds. Didn't seem like the Bears wanted to waste time with the Justin Fields trade. Kind of surprising. If I were the Bears GM, I probably would have held on to him a little bit longer and seen what his value could have been. I think his value could theoretically increase a lot on draft night, especially if some of the teams that think that they could have gotten a quarterback miss out. And I think that was part of the reason why the Eagles were so interested in Fields and even Pickett for that matter, just because they were former first-round picks and highly touted quarterbacks that didn't necessarily work out. But some of these teams, you can find them hostage and trade these types of quarterbacks for a second-round pick mid-season when their starting quarterback goes down. If Aaron Rodgers goes down and the only thing you have is Zach Wilson, I'm not saying Zach Wilson. I kind of like Zach Wilson, but you know what I'm saying. Josh Dobbs' situation last year, a lot of crazy things have happened. So anyway, I just wanted to go on for a minute or two, talk about Justin Fields. It looks like all the quarterbacks have pretty much found their new homes. Kirk Cousins is now an Atlanta Falcon, and it looks like they've gotten some nice toys for him. They already had Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London, but now they add Rondale Moore. They add the other wide receiver, Darnell Mooney. So I like what they're doing in Atlanta. It seems like they should very likely be a playoff team next year. Baker Mayfield re-signs with the Bucks, along with Mike Evans. So it seems like they are hopefully building something for the future, couple years, and can hopefully compete and beat the Falcons in the playoffs. But that's going to be a more interesting division, I think. Although it was a very competitive division this year, so we'll see how things goes. Russell Wilson goes to the Steelers on a one-year deal. The Broncos are paying about $38 million of his contract, so pretty much paying for free with the Steelers. And I'm pretty sure actually Justin Fields, the guy that they just traded for, is technically getting paid by the Steelers more because he's on his final year of his rookie deal, or maybe 2 years left on his rookie deal. But so he's making at least the base salary of like $2-3 million. So kind of funny to see that. But either way, the Steelers name Russell Wilson the starter for now. And we'll stay tuned. And a lot can change in the next couple months and once the season actually starts. But in other quarterback news, Gardner Minshew is on the Raiders. 2-year deal, $25 million. Seems more like the bridge quarterback. Kind of the same kind of deals that he's been getting, but probably going to compete with a rookie guy that they draft. So expect the Raiders to draft a guy and Gardner Minshew to have somewhat of a quarterback battle, or at least start as the starter and then, potentially lose that job or vice versa, take over when the rookie gets hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo was released by the Raiders, but then picked up by the Rams, signs a 1-year deal. Pretty interesting that the Rams actually go with Jimmy G over incumbent backup Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is still a free agent and looking for a job. So if you're Carson Wentz's agent, get to work. Josh Dobbs is still a free agent out there, so also stay tuned to see where he is. The Pastronaut, I'm a big fan of him. He's on TikTok. Shout out Pastronaut and Josh Dobbs. Sam Darnold signs a 1-year deal with the Vikings. Looks like he might be the starter. 1-year, $10 million deal. They're also a team that is probably very interested in getting a quarterback. Mariota signs a 1-year deal to be the backup for the Commanders. Commanders trade Sam Howell to the Seahawks to be the backup for Geno Smith. So a lot of quarterback movement, but pretty much setting up that the Washington Commanders are also drafting a quarterback. So we've got about 3 or 4 teams that we know are likely drafting a quarterback, and this is a pretty nice quarterback draft. There are about 4 or 5 guys that could at least start, or at least probably start at some point year one. 3 day one starters most likely in Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, and Jayden Daniels. But then a couple, I guess, fringe starters or potential starters down the road in J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, the kid from FSU, Jordan Travis. There was another guy or two I like, Spencer Rattler. So, Keaton Slovis, I don't know if he's really got that much of a future. But, there are some options in this year's draft. I think the guy from Tulane is also pretty highly prospect. I saw like 5 minutes of his film and wasn't that impressed. But for a backup, I guess, he could be a backup in this league potentially. Mason Rudolph signs a 1-year deal with the Titans. Easton Sick re-signs with the Chargers. And that's pretty much it as far as the quarterbacks. Running back situation, Saquon Barkley signs with the Eagles. He's come back home to Pennsylvania. Going to be right down the street from his grandma. Pretty awesome. Welcome back. I saw a little video of him and his kids trying on helmets and at the Eagles press conferences, so it's really adorable. I'm eating up the cuteness, and I'm loving it. Shout out McDonald's. Not sponsored. But this was a great running back, or great year for running backs. They got paid, and I think that's partially because this year's draft is not particularly that great in running backs. There are some guys, but not really. There's no Justin. What's his name? Jonathan Tom. Who's the Colts running back? What? Jonathan. Anyway, Jonathan Taylor. That's his name. God, why can't I think of it? But the running back market got reset this year. It seems like Saquon gets a big payday as pretty much an overall playmaker. Seems like the Eagles will hopefully use him similarly to how the 49ers use Christian McCaffrey. I think that when the Niners got Christian McCaffrey, it was sort of that cherry on top of the sundae, and the Eagles are looking for a similar type of investment on their offense with Saquon Barkley. I think that they'll have him in the backfield at times and then move him in the slot and really utilize him as a pass catcher. Not to mention that the Eagles have a significantly better offensive line than the Giants, so he'll hopefully be protected and have more protection in front of him. Those guys in front do a good job. In other running back news, DeAndre Swift signs with the Chicago Bears, and Chicago's got a pretty nice offense now, most likely with Caleb Williams coming in. DeAndre Swift, they lose Darnell Mooney, but they still have DJ Moore. They just trade for Keenan Allen, so not too bad for the incoming quarterback. They've done a decent job rebuilding the defense last year with a couple trades and in free agency. So expect Chicago to be a little bit better next year. Tony Pollard gets a 3-year deal with the Titans. Gonna be that, I guess, Fire and Thunder, with Tajee Spears, both pretty fast and pretty good pass catchers. So interesting to see how they will be paired up. Still curious to be who their quarterback is. I think it'll be Will Levis, but I'm not sold on him yet. Ryan Tannehill's still a free agent, so stay tuned if he retires or get signed somewhere. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a free agent. Bunch of former Vikings running backs are free agents. And yeah, T. Higgins gets tagged by the Bengals, and we're still waiting to hear with if he gets traded somewhere. Mike Evans resigns with the Bucks. Michael Pittman resigns with the Colts. Calvin Ridley signs with the Titans, which was a pretty surprise move. So, they're giving more options. They also have Hopkins. So, if it's Will Levis, he definitely has a lot more help next year. OBJ still a free agent. I know he's been talking a little bit with the Chiefs and hopefully is trying to get his last deal. But we'll see. Guys always say that and then, sign 1 or 2 year deals. So, it all is dependent on the market and what guys are paying. Hunter Renfro's out there. Michael Thomas, Allen Robinson, MVS, Corey Davis came out of retirement, so stay tuned. Olamide Zaccheaus, Donovan People-Jones, Chase Claypool. So stay tuned if any of these guys picked up. I'd actually wouldn't mind if the Eagles would consider Mapletron in Chase Claypool. I've always been a fan of his, although he really fizzled off since leaving Pittsburgh. So we'll see if any team even picks him up, considering the Dolphins took a shot on him and it didn't seem to work out this year. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to play a little Overwatch now and then go to bed. But happy St. Patty's Day. Hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned. Follow Shawnee Football for more. And we'll see you next time. Go Birds. Bum, 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 bum.